like other democracies in the world, in India also, the Constitution lays down the rights of all Indian citizens. The preamble to the Indian Constitution promises to give the citizens of India equality, liberty, and justice. To put this promise into practice, the Indian Constitution has defined 6 fundamental rights for all citizens of the country. These rights include the right to equality, the right to certain freedoms, the right against exploitation, the right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and the right to constitutional remedies. Starting with the right to equality, let's take a close look at what each of them means. The right to equality states that the government shall not deny any citizen of India equality before the law or equal protection of the law. The law says that no distinction will be made between a political leader, a government official, and an ordinary citizen. This is called the rule of law, and it forms the foundation of every democracy. According to the rule of law, even the Prime Minister of the country, in case of charges against him, will have to go to court, give evidence, and file papers without any special treatment. The right to equality also states that the government cannot discriminate among citizens on the grounds of religion, caste, ethnicity, sex, or place of birth. Every citizen has the right to access all public places, such as shops, restaurants, hotels, cinema halls, public wells, tanks, bathing ghats, roads, playgrounds, and places of public resorts maintained by the government or dedicated to the use of the general public. This right also applies to public jobs. No citizen can be denied an employment opportunity or appointment to any position in the government, or be discriminated against or made ineligible for employment on the above grounds. So, aren't reservations for minority groups against the right to equality? The Indian Constitution states that reservation for minority groups such as scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, other backward classes, women, and the physically handicapped is not a violation of the right to equality. This is because reservations do not give any special privileges. They only facilitate equal opportunity. In India, an extreme form of social discrimination is the practice of untouchability, which is especially rampant in remote villages and small towns amidst illiterate people. The Untouchability Offences Act 1955 states that practicing untouchability is a punishable offence. The right to equality also mandates the abolition of titles awarded by a foreign state, such as Rai Bahadur or Khan Bahadur. The second fundamental right in the Indian Constitution is the right to certain freedoms. Freedom, as the name suggests, is about living freely without any constraints or interference. The Indian Constitution grants all citizens of India the right to certain freedoms. The right to freedom of speech and expression states that all citizens have the freedom to think differently and express their views accordingly. This right empowers them with the freedom to communicate and express their opinion. The freedom of the press derives from the freedom of speech and expression. Unlike the Constitution of the United States, the Indian Constitution does not have a specific provision for the freedom of the press. Every citizen is free to express his or her views for or against the government or activities of an association through pamphlets, magazines, newspapers, paintings, poetry, or songs. However, it does not give you the right to instigate violence, incite people to rebel, defame others by spreading false rumors, or cause damage to a person's reputation. The right to assemble in a peaceful manner, without any arms, allows every citizen the freedom to hold meetings, processions, rallies, demonstrations, exchange ideas, mobilize public support, and seek votes in an election. However, this right does not allow you to hold public meetings that disrupt law and order in society. The right to form associations and unions grants all citizens of India the freedom to form or be part of an association or union, such as a workers' union or a campaign association against pollution. All citizens of India have the right to move freely throughout the country. However, in public interest, the government can impose reasonable restrictions on travelling and movement. For example, in situations of an emergency or epidemic, the government may restrict travel. Every citizen has the freedom to reside in any part of the country. For example, a person belonging to Orissa is free to live in any other state of India, such as Punjab, Maharashtra, or Andhra Pradesh. However, in the interests of the general public, citizens from other states and Kashmiri women marrying men from other states are restricted from purchasing land or property in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Every citizen of India is also free to choose the profession he or she wants to follow. Other than these 6 rights to freedom, the Constitution also grants all citizens of India the rights to life and personal liberty. However, this excludes citizens undergoing a legal procedure. According to this right, it is a criminal offence to kill any person except under a death sentence issued by the court of law. No government or police official is allowed to detain or arrest anyone without sufficient legal justification. In case of detention or arrest, the Constitution mentions a procedure to be followed. The procedure states that any person who is arrested and detained has a right to be informed about why he or she has been arrested or detained. The arrested person needs to be produced before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours of the arrest. Any person in such circumstances has the right to seek legal advice from a lawyer. The case studies about the prisoners of Guantanamo Bay and the Albanians in Kosovo are examples of people being deprived of this right to life and personal liberty. Now, coming back to the fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution, the third fundamental right is the right against exploitation. This third fundamental right is the right against exploitation. This right lays down clear provisions to prevent exploitation of the weaker sections of society. It prohibits trafficking in human beings, that is, buying and selling of human beings, especially women and children, for immoral purposes. It also forbids forced labor or begar in any form where a person is forced to render free service or is paid nominally. The Indian Constitution has made child labor illegal in the country. It forbids children below the age of 14 from working in any factory, mine, or in any other hazardous conditions. We have seen the first three fundamental rights, namely the right to equality, the right to certain freedoms, and the right against exploitation.